Kristen, and you're listening to Podcast and Amplify, a podcast for women entrepreneurs who want to amplify their voice and brand through podcasting and grow a wildly successful business. I'm the executive producer and host and an entrepreneur, and I love helping women grow their visibility, mindset, and business to the next level. Each week, I share tips on how to launch and leverage your podcast, and I'm bringing on the very best business leaders to give you advice on how to build your business empire. Let's amplify your voice and business. Hey there, welcome back to Podcast and Amplify. I'm your host, Kristen, and today we are talking about a very exciting topic, at least I think so. We're going to be talking about marketing and rethinking that a little bit. Marketing can be difficult for a lot of us entrepreneurs, and we're going to kind of dig into why that might be. So our guest, Christina Giordano, has thoughts about this.
Mm-hmm.
She has nearly 15 years in the marketing industry. She has over 10 years as Christina Giordano Consulting. She helps to empower online marketers to show up, be seen, and shine in a way that's really unique to us and feels wholehearted and aligned. So, welcome, Christina.
Thank you so much, Kristen, for having me.
Why don't we dive in? I love to learn what a pivotal moment is for my guests that have really gotten them to this moment where they're at in their life. So if you can share that.
Sure. So for me, it was really throughout my entire journey as a marketing consultant, particularly in my business, I went into it with an old marketing framework to work with. And I tried to help people essentially by making the tried and true marketing practices more approachable. Because after all, these were the practices that I had learned along the way in my business. And so, of course, they must work for everyone. And so these were the hustling, the grinding away, the uncomfortable sales tactics, the fear-based ploys, overcoming objections. That's one of my favorites. And just the constant and continuous pounding on the pavement to just make a buck. And marketing, even for me as a marketing consultant, it just never felt right. It never felt like what I was doing was benefiting either the client or the people that they were trying to sell to. And every time I gave marketing advice from this traditional perspective, I would literally feel sick to my stomach. And it was just kind of a gradual occurrence of these constant pangs in my stomach of having to just feel like this whenever I was helping someone market themselves. And so I just stopped. I stopped doing it entirely. I stopped taking clients and from a larger perspective, and I was just done. And so I pretty much got to a point where I was like on my knees. I was like, please just show me a better way. Show me a better way. And I promise I'll help others do the same. And that was kind of the moment, the pivotal moment where I transitioned into an entirely new way of marketing, an entirely new way of helping people market themselves.
Yeah, I've been following you on Instagram, and of course, we're part of the same community of really great
Mhm.
women, and I've been seeing that sort of like evolution. And your messaging just feels so much stronger because I feel like I can
Mm.
feel the passion behind it and the alignment behind it. Tell us what you think is really broken and outdated about marketing. You alluded to it a little bit in terms of how that helped you get to where you are today, but what do you think just like really we need to be done with? We need to like stick the fork in it. It's done.
Yep. So one of the biggest questions I get asked is, why does marketing have to suck so bad? That's probably what every single client asks me. And it's typically because well, first of all, it doesn't have to suck so bad. That's the truth of it. And if it does suck, it's because we're not selling the right thing. We're not talking about the right thing. We're not selling the specific transformation that we provide. The old framework, the old outdated approach really kind of talks about like the benefits of your work and, share the overarching modalities that you use and all your skills and your expertise and all of this fluff about what you do, but nobody has really driven into the core, the root of not only why they do what they do, but what they actually do, the actual transformation that you provide. So when you're focusing on all, for lack of a better word, all the BS, of what your work could do to help somebody, of what you're hoping that it does to help somebody, you're missing what you actually do. And so then you go into the murky waters of like, is that even an ethical approach to marketing? And the broken, outdated approach is unethical. It truly is. And so when we're focusing on marketing something that's real, when we're focusing on marketing something that is that we can talk about, that we love talking about because it's what we actually do, it's the thing that gets someone from point A to point B, that is when we're marketing, and it's easy, it's ethical, and it's effective because it's so clear and it's so specific, and there's just massive clarity all around about what you do now.
Yeah, I can definitely attest to feeling like, marketing. I have a marketing background and it never really felt great. And then when I did it for my own, started doing it for my own business, that brought up all kinds of other things in terms of just like really trying to be in integrity, not wanting to use those scarcity tactics or the manipulation. So, yeah, I love the direction that you're talking about in terms of where marketing should be going and where it can be going. Like, there's just so many more possibilities, I think, when you kind of shed old ways that are taken
Yes.
for like, oh, that's the truth and that's the one way. And you start to
Hmm.
broaden your perspective, like, oh, what could this be? So I love that
Yes.
possibilities mindset. And so can you tell us why being in alignment is really key to this like new paradigm shift that you're helping to bring about?
Sure. So it's not only key, it's almost absolutely essential. Buyer consciousness has evolved. I mean, the collective consciousness has evolved. We've been through so much, even in the past 2 years. And because of that, we think differently now. We buy differently now. Even though people still buy from people, they're thinking differently now. They're thinking in alignment with what they truly want, with what they truly desire. And so it all is basically stemming from alignment. And if you want to truly be a magnet and attract the right kinds of people to your work like a magnet, that's alignment. That is alignment. Alignment is, it has a magnetism to it, a magic to it, is what I like to call it. The way that you are aligned to your work is actually the way that your clients are aligned to your work. So if you think about it that way, if you can talk about the transformation that you provide in a way that is aligned to the exact specific transformation that your clients are looking for, that's where the magic happens. That's where the magnetism happens. And all of a sudden, you're creating attraction simply by speaking your truth, speaking your point of view, sharing the transformation you provide, being the representation of your very own transformation, which is embodying the work that you do. That's next level entrepreneurship. That's where you're really, showing up and stepping up your game and actually bringing in not only the right people who are actually a good fit for you, but you're doing it in a way that feels good too, and that's important. If you wanna feel good doing what you love to do, and you wanna talk about it in a way that looks like you enjoy doing what you love to do.
I hope you're enjoying this conversation. This show is sponsored by me. And I wanted to let you know that Podcast and Amplify is now offering podcast marketing and management services. So if you have a podcast and you're sort of tearing your hair out because it's just taking you so much time, you're not really sure how to leverage and grow your podcast, you want to hit record and walk away. That's what we help you do. Create ease in your life, your business, and your podcasting. Head on over to podcastandamplify.com. You can check out our services page and learn more. Okay, back to the show. You're so right. Like we are in a different space collectively. We're smarter. Consumers are smarter. We
Yes.
have so much more information that we can access. I think we all want connection as well. And that magnetism and being in alignment, like you're talking about, like that fosters real, genuine connection.
Yes.
And I think it's something we're craving, right?
Yes.
Especially
Yes.
like being so isolated from each other for the last couple of years.
That's a great way to put it, of alignment creates connection. That's a great that's a great way to put it, and it's true. I mean, if you think about a magnet, that's what it does. That's what it is.
Right, right. So what's one way that we can instantly elevate our marketing? Because I know you're a genius at this. So I was excited to ask you this question.
Yeah, so first is the mini, which we can talk about later. That's kind of that's like the the most instant you can get when it comes to working with me. But think about what you've been through that you now help others achieve as it relates to your work. So this is the transformation that you need to talk about. This is the transformation that you actually love talking about. This is the thing that you're so good at. Like you've been there. And I had a client yesterday do the meetup, which is one of my one-to-one offerings. And she was blown away by uncovering the transformation that she actually provides because she thought that it had to be so related to the title that she held and to the actual service that she offered. She was an online business management. So she thought she had to share kind of the benefits of what that work does, but the transformation that she actually provides is related to what she's been through as an entrepreneur and with her own life experiences. And that transformation is that thing that like lights her up when she's working. It comes up through her. It's like she's glowing. She gets chills up her spine. That's the kind of transformation that I love to bring out of people and that I love to show people. And I promise you it's there for anybody who's listening. I promise you there's a transformation there that you provide that can be so crystal clear and can make your marketing easy, ethical, and effective. I promise you.
Yeah, I love that you're tapping into that, and you're so right. There is that thing that we all have where when we start talking about it, people lean in. They're like,
Hmm.
"Ah, tell me more," because your vibe, your energy is just like, I want more of that. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, alignment, magnetism, magic, that's the new way of working now. That's the new energy of business.
Because we're still sort of like, I feel like we have one foot in the old and one foot in the new. I feel like we're in that space. So sometimes we can be kind of pulled back into those old, I guess, methods.
Mhm.
How do we stay the course, or how do we let go that pressure that we can feel to like do it this way because it's been proven and this is the way? Like, do you have any advice for us when we're feeling a little shaky, when we're not, doing things the status quo way?
Yeah, when you got one foot in and one foot out, I hear you. I feel like I'm still balancing that. I'm still figuring that out for myself because I've had one foot in one way for so long. Habits are hard to change. Change is hard in general. I would say though that really defining the transformation that I give to my clients and like clearly deciding and claiming that that's what I do and there's like no going back. There's nothing else I could possibly do. Like, this is it. There's nothing else. Just having that and claiming that and deciding that that's how I'm going to show up and in the way that I'm going to show up has made it so much easier for me to stay the course and to keep the faith and to keep going step after step after step towards what I envision my business looking like. And that's really what it takes is almost like that deciding moment of, okay, I'm going to be in alignment. This is aligned for me. This is it. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm meant to be doing. I know it in my bones that this is what is for me. You pave the way by doing that. It's like you're sprinting through the forest and you're like not so lost anymore. You're like, I see the light and that's where I'm going. And I'm not looking any other direction.
Yeah, just committing to it. And I think every time you feel that sense of being lit up, like you've mentioned, like that's kind of addictive in a way, right? It feels so good that I think eventually you're going to be like,
Yeah.
why did I ever do it that way? It's not how I want to feel, not
Mhm.
how I want to show up. And I know it can take some time to give ourselves permission to even feel that good in our businesses. Sometimes we think, oh, it has to be hard, but taking
Yeah.
those steps, like you said, towards it, then that's just gonna unleash the beast of, us being really excited about just talking about what we do and sharing it with people.
Exactly, exactly. And it's really about just claiming what it is that you do and just knowing that this is it. It's not all the BS and the benefits and the this and the that and the fluff and the buff. It's this one thing that you do and you love talking about it. People don't realize they love talking about this one thing. You'll never run out of content. You'll never run out of things to say
Right.
about this thing. So yeah, it's just figuring that out makes it 10 times easier.
Yeah, and that sometimes is the fear too, right? Of running out of content or running out of things to say, but you're so right. Like if you're really interested in it, there's so many avenues and paths, and that
Yep.
being lit up sparks that creativity, which is really exciting.
Yes.
So before we hop off, I want to ask you, what is your superpower?
My superpower, I would say that it would be helping people connect the dots to their transformation. I have this wild ability of having someone share not only their entrepreneurial journey, but things related to life experiences and what got them to where they are today. I have this crazy ability of being like, this is actually what you do. This is how you transform others. It's because you've been there and this is where you are now. So I have a unique ability of doing that.
Yeah, that's amazing because I think so many of us need that other perspective. It's like we're so close to what we do. And when we can have that person who could just kind of see it all and then articulate it, like that's a really powerful gift. So,
Yes, thank you. Yes.
and then how can people find out more about you? How can they get your resources or work with you? Please share all the things.
So on my website, I have my mini, which is I call it the mini. It's the free audio recording. It's 10 minutes long, and it's the life method, which is the first of my many methods. It's the first method that essentially gets you into alignment, and it really kind of encompasses everything that we've talked about today. And it's free. So you just got to download it, listen to it. In 10 minutes, you can instantly elevate your marketing. And the next thing is on my Get Guidance page, I have my Magic Marketing Suite of offerings, and they vary in price points and also in accessibility to me. So a one-to-one, I was talking about the meetup earlier. That one's a 90-minute one-to-one that's laser focused on messaging. And then there's also a deep dive kind of day in there. So it varies in prices and then also in depth of work with me. So those would be two good ways of finding me. And also if you want to check me out on Instagram or even on my blog, those are available as well.
Great. Well, we will link to all those places in our show notes. Christina, thank you so much for being here and sharing your new needed approach to marketing.
Thank you so much, Kristen.
Hey, thanks for listening to the show. So if you found this episode really valuable, I'd love for you to head on over to Instagram and share your big takeaways, any aha moments that you had, and tag me at Podcast and Amplify. If you have any questions, make sure to hit me up in the DMs. And if you have any friends or fellow entrepreneurs who you think would get a ton of value from the show, make sure to share this episode with them. Your recommendations and your reviews are really what help grow this podcast. And we are always so grateful for your support. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.